I will introduce the Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Mr. Ban Ki-moon.
Your Eminence, Cardinal Egan, Your Excellency, the Most Reverend RCC Chulikat, Reverend Robert Robbins, Your Excellency Mr. Vuk Jeremic, President of the 67th Session of the General Assembly, Excellencies, Permanent Representatives of the United Nations Diplomatic Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is an honor to join with you once again. This service always has a deep meaning for me, and this year is even more special because it is the first of my second term as Secretary General. We gather at the beginning of another session of diplomacy. Soon, world leaders will gather from every corner of the globe. They will engage at the United Nations in the spirit of dialogue with faith in diplomacy as believers in our mission to advance peace, human rights, and development. Regardless of religion, these are the values that unite us as global citizens. But those tenets are being tested today, unfortunately. Conflict continues to claim lives of innocents from Syria to Central Africa to Afghanistan. In all regions, communities are facing economic hardships and political uncertainty. Unemployment is on the rise, so is intolerance. Perhaps it is easy for some to despair at these tests. But I am a believer. I believe we can rise to the challenge. And I know you believe that too. We gather this evening against the backdrop of global protest and violence in response to yet another harmful instance of hatred and provocation. Therefore, I would like to stress the special role of religious leaders and community voices of conscience. Whether priest or lama, rabbi or imam, you are all standard bearers of reason and respect within and among religious traditions. People everywhere look to religious leaders for guidance, support, and direction. We need religious leaders in all parts of the world to help lead the way in promoting tolerance, seeking forgiveness, healing divisions, and building mutual understanding and mutual respect. This pursuit is rooted in all faith traditions, and it is needed now more than ever. We need voices of moderation and calm everywhere to make themselves heard. Your Eminence, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as the Secretary General of the United Nations, I travel the world. I have seen hardship and heartache, and I have seen resilience in the face of great challenge. I have seen the best of humanity, and I have seen the worst of humanity over the course of 1 year or 1 month or in a day. Sometimes I see it all in a day. Let me tell you one of those days, July 26, this year. That day, I began the morning in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I traveled to Srebrenica. There is perhaps no more difficult place for the United Nations Secretary General to visit. Srebrenica was the scene of the worst act of genocide in Europe since World War II. The United Nations, the international community, failed to protect thousands of Muslims, men and boys, from slaughter. I visited the graves, I wept with the mothers. I resolved that the road from Srebrenica must take us to a world that is more civilized, more accountable, and more human. That same day, I went to London. It was the eve of the London Olympic Games. I was invited to run the streets with the Olympic torch. I had my running gear, I was trained, and I was ready. But in the end, I couldn't run as I had imagined. I had to slowly jog because there were so many people along the roads, perhaps from everywhere coming together, cheering each other on in such a heartwarming celebration of global solidarity and good fellowship. In the span of just a few hours, I saw open wounds of fresh memories and the open joys of fresh hope. I saw the world as it was, and too often still is, and the world as we know it can be. Sometimes the image of that better world comes in short bursts, in Olympic moments. But I believe it is out there for all the people of this earth to grasp if we labor and dream and pray for together. Almost 50 years ago, Pope Paul VI delivered a sermon here at this very ecumenical service. He said, I quote, "The work of peace is not restricted to one religious belief. It is the work and duty of every human person, regardless of religious conviction." End of quote. That remains our mission, our obligation, and our calling. Lastly, I sincerely hope that under the leadership of His Excellency, new President of General Assembly, Mr. Vuk Jeremic, that we'll be united to address all the challenges we are facing and we will continue to face. Ladies and gentlemen, let us strive together to advance our common humanity and share the future. Thank you very much.